workshop. This is a live stream we do usually about every fortnight. If I'm on the road, then I'll do it every week, usually while I'm on the road. A lot has happened since the last live stream 2 weeks ago. Let's just let me get the laptop tuned in, and then we'll see where we go from there. Because this morning is all about you people and your questions and stuff, not just my updates. Here we go. Oh, great thumbnail. One take. I was running out of time this morning. Things were really touch and go. They really were. Right. But we have some, basically a revelation. Something you've all been waiting for a very long time. And me too, actually. Simon Rawle is in the workshop from, can I say it, Simon? Well, you put it on Facebook. Helmsley in North Yorkshire. Are you still there, Simon? Camping? Probably are. Simon says, morning, Andy and crew. Good morning to you, Simon. Evening, in fact. I hope you had a good day up in Helmsley. I used to be, for my sins, I don't know if any of you know this or not, but Simon will chuckle. When I was doing my A-levels, and I was still at school, obviously, I actually got a job during the summer holidays as the Rydale District Council car park attendant, and I covered Helmsley. There's 2 car parks, short stay in the square, long stay round the back where the bus park is. And as far as I'm aware, and I haven't checked for the last few years, but I'm sure if you want to give the council a call, they might be able to tell you what's going on. I still hold the record for the number of car park offence tickets issued over a single bank holiday weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 127 tickets. And I think back then they were about £50, £40 each. And if you didn't pay, it went to 75 or something stupid. But, you know, serious amount of money, right? I was actually really, really good at my job. And I was undercover most of the time. First thing Sunday morning was the best. I'd go and sit in the square. There's a couple of sort of stone monument things with steps. And I'd go and sit there with a paper to sort of hide my uniform, just sit there reading the paper. And I'd be watching the cars that were still parked in the car park from overnight. And I think the car parking came in at 9 o'clock. I think it was 9 or maybe 10. It doesn't matter. Anyway, whatever time it came in. So I'm sat there and they get 5 minutes and then they get a ticket, right? So I'd sit there and I'd be watching all these cars, making a note of all the number plates and stuff and watching my clock, you know, okay, yeah. And I'd wait, you know, for all of them to tip over the 5 minutes. But I'd pre-write the tickets. That was the trick, right? So you sit there, fill out your book, fill them all out. Yeah, registration number, start time, offence time. So I'd get like 12 or 15 tickets already pre-written. And then all I had to do was just walk around the car park, bang, 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 bang. It was done within like a couple of minutes. And I was gone. I was round to the long stay car park because there was going to be World War III when those people came out. Some were locals, they knew better. Some were tourists. Well, a bit of tourist money for the council. Anyway, I was an absolute bastard when it came to being a car park attendant, and I was incredibly good at it. And Rydale Council will definitely have noticed a drop in income when I went back, well, when I went off to college, basically. Good fun, though. That's going to open a can of worms, isn't it? Because nobody likes a car park attendant. I was a school person. I was just trying to earn some money, you know, and it wasn't commission-based. Man, if it was, I probably would have stayed there, to be honest. Mike Bazansky. Good morning, all. Good morning, Mike. Welcome back to the workshop. That's a bit loud, wasn't it? Mr. Sheldon Rush is in the workshop. Oh, here we go. Big smiley face. Faster than the one I've been waiting for. I cancelled the order for its 16 months. Is a bit long to wait. And yes, good morning, Andy, Mrs. Mechanic, Mrs. Mechanical, Marmite and crew. Mrs. Mechanical, we should call her that. That's a good name, actually. Well, good morning, Sheldon, first of all. And secondly, when it comes to special tools, I completely concur. The support is, well, it's woefully atrocious, the 2 words that I use to describe it. And by no means acceptable. It really isn't. I spend my life juggling with special tools, between one motorcycle and another just to try and keep the wheels turning. And it's just nothing but a nightmare. It really is. And things also go missing. And that's a real problem because I can't replace them. Once they're gone, and it causes a problem. Vijayant. Good evening, Andy and crew. Good evening, Vijayant. And welcome back to my workshop from South Africa, I believe. If my memory serves me right. MF50B. Now then, Andy and crew. Good morning, MF50B. And welcome back, sir. It's been 2 weeks. It has. Daniel Bedell. Hey, Andy. Good morning, Daniel. Any more renovation work going on? Simon, we'll send you a good photo. Oh, I like good photos. Let's see what we got. Did we get a good photo yet? Oh, man, there's heaps of stuff coming. Let's have a look. Simon did send a good photo. Ooh. Ooh, Thomas the Baker's sausage roll and a Thatcher's Gold, which obviously has to be cider, right? Somerset cider. Nice. Very good, Simon. Look at that. The evening sun just setting across the campsite. And he's got his sausage roll, which he will have kept all day for the live stream. Well done, Simon. Now, that's stamina. That really is. It's way too peoply outside. It sure is, mate. Stay well away from them. Thatcher's Gold. I've not seen Thatcher's Gold before. Family cider makers. Ooh, that looks good. I know you shouldn't judge a drink by the bottle, but it's a nice cover, isn't it? I like that. A bit of landscape and apple orchard. Very good, Simon. Thank you for that. I'm very envious. I do very much miss the UK and, Helmsley and North Yorkshire especially, because I used to live there for years and I used to know all the little back roads and the tracks and the old green lanes and things. And, going anywhere was always interesting. It was. I mean, when we went up to Scotland on a family holiday, we had to do Rutland Rig to go on the way because, well, it heads north, right? And it's a gravel road. And, yeah, that's what you do. All the kids loaded up, all the gear in the back and the suitcases and stuff. No, we're going to Rutland Rig. That will take us north. What an idiot, really. Daniel, always Andy, good man, keeping busy. Oh, I forgot the ashtray. Not that I need it this morning, mind you. Anyway, so some really good news. We'll move on to the special tools shortly. Hopefully they're the right ones. Where are we at? Well, you might remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the last live stream, I think we were about ready to paint. Mrs. Mechanic had finished all the sandblasting of the 450 plates, the main plates, and we were ready to paint. Well, they are all painted. The kits are all packed. She had all the nuts and bolt kits to put together, had all the little brackety pieces to wrap in brown paper and stuff, and then assemble the kits complete in bubble wrap and tape them up, and they're all on a pallet and shrink wrapped and ready to go back to Auckland. I haven't been back. Well, I have been back to Auckland, but only to the airport. More on that shortly. I know, planes, right? So they're all done. She got all the 700 nuts and bolt kits done. All the incidentals, the small brackets and stuff for the 700 kits, they're all done. 700 plates, the last few got sandblasted yesterday morning. And then yesterday afternoon, we set to get the plates painted up. I also had some little number plate brackets to do for a 3-wheeler motorcycle. We had a bit of spare stock, overrun stock, which they needed. Some of them weren't painted, so Mrs. Mechanical had sandblasted those, and I set to and got those painted whilst she was still sandblasting. I know it robbed a bit of air out of the system, but it coped quite fine. It was not a problem. We're actually producing a bit more air now than what the sandblasting cabinet needs, so we're all good. So I got those painted. Easy. And then as soon as she finished, we started on the, well, in fact, I think I even started on the main plates before she finished. But anyway, we got as many done as we had paint for. I know, we ran out of paint. What a rookie mistake. But hey, I thought we might have just about had enough. I think there's 12 plates that are not painted out of a batch of about 62, 64 or something. So we'll be all right. We can cope with that. I think we've got enough to satisfy at the moment. And when I go back up to Auckland next, I'll just grab a 1 litre can of paint just to finish it off. I'm not buying a 20 litre drum for $800 again. There's no need for that at the moment. We haven't got any more orders to come in to do, so why would you spend the money, right? So I'll just get some gloss black or satin black paint, 1 litre. I've got plenty of thinners left. Oh, got you. And get that finished next weekend. ROV is finished. Last Saturday, I think it was, I got it all welded up at the front end. It wasn't too big a job, to be honest. Got it all done, re-understeeled it all, put it all back together, and that's going to be going back up to Auckland on Thursday when I go back up. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sort of working from home, because in the last week, i.e. last week, I was away. I was in the South Island. We've had some changes amongst a couple of the dealers in New Zealand, in the South Island, where they've changed ownership. So obviously I had some training to do down there, and that went very well, to be perfectly honest. Managed to squeeze some other stuff in as well. I had another dealer to go and visit on the Wednesday. That proved very, very successful. Can't elaborate whatsoever. I think Sheldon knows what I'm on about. So things are looking very promising regarding, well, I can say regarding a fuel pump issue. We seem to have found something, but I can't elaborate any more than that, but things are looking really good. Well, better. Connor K. Good morning, Connor. Welcome back to the workshop, sir. Richard Perry. Hello, Andy and crew. GB thumbs up. Thank you, Richard. Welcome back. Jim Haynes. Rained out last night, so here on time today. And yes, special tools are a necessary evil. They are. And I would actually like to go back to the process that this particular manufacturer, I believe, adopted a few years ago prior to my time, which whenever a special tool comes out and it's a model that's sold in that country, it is issued to all of the motorcycle shops at a special price. They have to put something towards it. But a super deal, because you can gain from economies of scale when you order lots and get them manufactured, and they should just be issued with an invoice, I believe. For the common, certainly for the common stuff. It could even, if the system was smart, it would know what machines that they sold, and then they would get them. But that just isn't the case. It's completely reliant on orders going in, and then when they get so many orders built up, then they'll go ahead and make some more, and the lead times can be just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that's not my problem directly. I can't influence it, but it is a headache for me, for sure. Connor K, good morning, Andy and crew. Missed the last few live streams due to travel to the US. Oh, good man. Haven't been there in over 6 years since I moved away. Back home in Portugal now. I bet you feel a lot better being back in Portugal, Connor. Nothing wrong with the US, but it's nice to be back home, isn't it? Pete Curran, hey dude, hope you're well. I am actually. I'm quite happy that we've got this huge backlog of work out of the way, all the fabrication work and painting and sandblasting and stuff. It's a bit of a mission. It really is. The workshop ends up being an absolute tip. It's pretty full on, long days, but we got there. We did another batch or another 2 batches. A lot of work, and it sort of puts everything else on hold. This year's been a bit weird because I was away in the South Island for nearly a month, traveling for work, and then we were away again for the monkey bike trip for sort of 2.5, 3 weeks on that one. So we haven't really been at home that much this year. And being able to sort of get back into the swing of doing projects and really doing videos for the channel. Haven't done that much other than the monkey bike trip, which Mrs. Mechanical is currently editing up. She's doing episode 2 at the moment. She's getting a bit frustrated because it's just gravel roads. She said it's a bit boring. How do we make it interesting? So I said, look, I think you need to do some voiceover stuff. That's always really good on adventure trips, where you can talk currently about what's going on. And the local area and the history around it and things and things that area is famous for, events that have happened there in recent years, and and maybe problems that they've had as a community as well. Anything like that is really interesting. It does get a lot more interesting to the trip as we get further south. For the first few days, we were very focused to getting the Ks done, to just, I wouldn't say trying to get ahead of schedule, but there was a lot more work to do in the first 2 or 3 days as everything was settling down. We were getting used to the center units. She was getting used to the bike. I was sort of getting used to towing the trailer and playing around with the brakes, and everything was just, you know, when you go on an adventure trip, whether it's a motorcycle trip or a 4-wheel drive trip, whatever it is, for a reasonable time, things take the first few days to settle down, and then everything finds its place. You know, your car gets packed properly, you know where everything is, it's all stable, and then you feel more comfortable, and that's when we started to do more pieces to camera and stuff. So hang in there. Please continue to watch the episodes. If you've not seen episode 1 yet, or the trailer at least, head over to Mrs. Mechanic's YouTube channel. I'm sure she'll put a link in there. She'll be listening, I'm sure, but she'll put a link again in the chat. Head over there and have a watch, because it's quite good fun. It is, and it gets a lot better. She's come across the bit with the tractor. I won't say any more than that, but the bit with the tractor will be in episode 2. Yes. I nearly didn't get a coffee. So realistically, that's pretty much about all that we've been doing. I've been away for the last week, South Island, doing training. That was a nice trip, actually. I hate flying. Screaming kids. It was a giant office, was the plane. Everybody's talking, and I'm just trying to sleep. There's no internet, so why not? No, we don't have internet on our planes in New Zealand. Turn your phone off, please. Yeah. Drive home was okay. Took me, by the time I got out of the airport in Auckland, obviously I had to drive home. It's normally about a 3.5 hour drive. Took me 5 hours. First hour was burnt just sat in traffic, just working my way through Auckland. It was just horrific. JJ, morning, Andy and crew, 4 thumbs up. Good morning, JJ. Good man. Connie K, yes, there is no place like home and your own familiar surroundings. The beer is better in Portugal as well. My personal opinion, however, yeah, local beer, you get used to it, don't you? It's nice. Simon, got to work the kinks out of any trip. That's right. Looking forward to part 2. Me too, actually. I like the way Mrs. Mechanic edits, and you know, I think she's doing a great job. But she wants to do the best that she can, and obviously that involves putting a lot of work in and doing something and then not liking it. And I think you'll find, and then redoing it. You know, and I think you'll find that as the episodes go out, as they roll out over the next few months, maybe a year, who knows. They'll only get better and better as her skill set of using the editing suite improves. She's already vastly exceeded my knowledge base. I cannot be of any further help to her. She actually gives me pointers now, you know, and she's done that in a very short period of time. And I've been doing 8 videos now for what, 7-8 years, and I'm like an ant. Once I work out how to do something once, I just continue to do it in the same way every time, rather than explore all the options in the suite and keep playing with it. Because, you know, there's like an auto sync thing, right? You know, where if you're using more than one camera, it syncs the audio, it aligns the audio between the 2 cameras or the 3 cameras, so they're all synced together. Didn't know that. For example, when I was editing up the video with Holly doing the Lego build or the Meccano build, whichever one it was, they were both similar to edit. I think the Meccano build was the longest one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the first one we did, I think. And we had 3 cameras running, and I didn't know about the sync system, so I was manually syncing together every clip. Yes, took a very long time. It did. JJ, hit the like button, y'all. Cheers, JJ. Oh, coffee's just starting to go off. It's nowhere near as cold this morning. I haven't got the jacket on, as you can see. Now, we have a couple of food stuffs for breakfast. Unfortunately, we have already done this one. Oxford pies, steak and cheese. you know, it's not a bad pie. It got a reasonable score. It was, I don't know, somewhere probably in the 80s. It was okay. It was pretty average. I think the biggest problem with it was the structural integrity. And this one's already got cracks in it. So, you know, at least they're consistent, right? So the one for this morning, which was our backup pie, which isn't even a pie, it's all they had. Mrs. Mechanic grabbed it last night at the local supermarket. Oxford pies, beef and cheese roll. I know it's not a pie, but it's food and it's breakfast. So it's going to go in the pie warmer. Do we rate it? I don't know. Maybe we could try and rate it, I suppose. It's not really a pie. But, you know, it's sold at pie shops, so what the hell. Right, to camera, Andy, to camera. So this is a little bit like Simon's sausage roll from Thomas the Baker's. Now, I say that incredible. Simon's going to be chuntering now because he's nothing like a Thomas roll. Thomas's Baker's sausage roll. It isn't, but the theory behind it's the same. So this is sort of New Zealand's equivalent to a sausage roll. The ones that they do at the petrol station are more of the similar size to the English ones. This one is a bit wider and a bit more weighty. There's more to it, but that's about the only difference. You know, as regards structure, should I say? You know, so there you go. That's what it looks like. It's got some little air hole perforations in there for cooking purposes. Base is a bit, it's a bit manky, isn't it? It'll dry out though. It's all right. So not really too much to look at. You can see the filling down the inside there. New Zealand sausage rolls, you've got to be bloody careful with them, to be honest. There's some nasty ones out there, as far as I'm concerned anyway. They put things like peas and other vegetables in a sausage roll. I know, Simon's going, what the hell, right? But they do. And that was sort of my first experience. Because, you know, I came to New Zealand thinking, I like sausage rolls. I'll buy one because, you know, that'll be nice. And I would buy one and I would be like, this isn't even a sausage roll. It's nothing like a sausage roll. It's got other stuff in it that shouldn't be in it. But if you're careful and you know the right places, you can get a sausage roll here, which semi-resembles what an Englishman would call a sausage roll. Will this be that? I really don't think so, but we'll give it a go. Okay, to the pie warmer. Turn you round. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Right, we'll just unplug you as well because you've been on charge. Not that I forgot to charge the phone up last night. I actually did charge it up, but I'm just being cautious. Okay, so it's not a pie, for those that just joined us. It's a Oxford sausage roll. We will see. I don't know. We might even burn it to a crisp, mightn't we? Because, you know, it's not a pie, but 23 minutes. It came out of the fridge, so we'll see what happens. It might be black and all burnt and chewed up and might even catch fire. Yeah, that might not be a bad thing, really. Then I could have me steak and cheese pie. Now, whilst that's merrily warming... Oh, look at the state of that. It's been a while, hasn't it? Sorry, Alan. Things are not great with the old Trump, unfortunately. Somebody pointed out a while ago, and I didn't even notice, and neither did Alan, one of the fork legs, the stanchions, is longer than the other one. And this is why the Speedo, or the rev counter, Speedo is a different height to the rev counter as well, because they mount on the top of the fork. How bizarre is that? What's going on? So, will we get to fix that as well in the future? I don't know. To be perfectly honest, we'll wait and see what happens. Yes, it's still all taped up. I've no idea on the condition in there. It has been outside in the garden numerous times when I've been in the workshop doing stuff. But even, you know, to try and keep it clean, but even then, it's filthy, you know. It's not good at all. It's a sad, sad day at the moment. Other problems with the bike, we found a crack. Can you see it in there? Look, there's a crack in the rack. I don't think I can stress it enough where I am. But anyway, you can see with the chrome, it just steps. So this rack has nearly cracked all the way through. I did point that out to Alan when I picked it up. And he's like, oh, no, really? So he'll have to get himself another rack. Or I don't really want to weld it up and then have to get it re-chromed. It's probably cheaper just to buy a new rack, because I'm sure you can still get them. Yes, rear disc is a bit rusty as well. And the rear caliper's binding on a bit. I did take the chain off to aid movement. So that's something in a drawer somewhere. But the good news is we now have, so I'm told, we'll find out when I do the video later on today, we have the special tools to disassemble the primary drive basically between the crankshaft and the input to the gearbox. And I say the input to the gearbox, you might say, well, hang on a minute, the chain's on this side as well. Yes, I didn't design it, but somehow the drive goes into the gearbox through basically the same shaft as it comes out of. It must be a hollow shaft or something, I don't know. It's going to be quite interesting how they've done it. Obviously, it proved to be a bad idea because, it hasn't been adopted by all the manufacturers. And if you were to change the chain and sprockets on this motorcycle, you'd have all the primary drive to disassemble as well to be able to do it. Seriously. I mean, come on, people. It's just dumb, isn't it, really? It's dumb in my book. These bikes are designed to be ridden all over the world with minimum tools and ease of maintenance, and that's completely the opposite, isn't it? Okay. So what else is going on in the workshop? Well, Sheldon's been very busy doing all the countersinks, performed faultlessly as always. And if we look around, you might see something different. I'll just go nice and slowly, and we'll scan the whole workshop, and we'll see if anybody can spot what the difference is. So we'll go over here, look. Nice and steady, because YouTube gets very upset if I go too fast. I know it's more dusty than it used to be, but that's because we've been sandblasting. Can you see anything different? Not just moved cans. We're talking a bit more different than that. It's quite good to get a good pan of the workshop, isn't it? It always looks bigger on camera. Okay, we'll go over here. Dum 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 dum. Can you see anything? Oh my word! Can you see anything more different? Anything different? Just scanning around, scanning around, scanning around. Can you see anything different? Anything different? No? Well, let me help you. Look, we now have a 40 amp supply for the MiG. Now, I know it's using a 3-phase plug, so it's a long way up, is this. There we go. 3-phase plug, i.e. 4 pins. And the plug looks a bit like the plug that goes in. That's the socket, obviously. The plug looks a bit like that. That's the plug that's on the MiG. And I have used it. I used it when I was welding up the ROV on the front chassis, part of the chassis, where one of the A-arms goes on. And it worked brilliantly. So the lads came down, I think it was just after the last live stream. They came down and got it all finished. It might have been the one before, actually. I might have forgotten to tell you about it, but there it was. So any really smart ones might have spotted it. But it's got its own little on-off switch, and it's got its own 40 amp circuit breaker. Not an RCD, a normal circuit breaker, because RCDs don't work with MIG welders. But the chap said he can also use Sheldon on it, which I'll have to do. I'll have to get some more plugs, or at least run an extension lead through, so I can run Sheldon. And I can also run, what else have we got kicking around? Can I show you? I can. Yes, down here is the plasma cutter. So that sort of worked okay. We did a few cuts with that, but again, it was starved of power. So now we've got all the power we need to make it run correctly. Yeah, very happy actually. But that was another $2,000 to have that installed to code. That kind of stuff you just absolutely not allowed to do yourself. Here in New Zealand, they get very, very, very upset if you try and do that kind of stuff. I've done a lot of the wiring anyway. I say wiring. It's just extension leads and stuff. No, I put the fuse boxy thing in a few years ago, much to many electricians' amazement and despair. But it has been checked by the electrician, and he said, look, it's wired up a little bit differently to how we would have done it, but from a technical perspective, it actually is wired up correctly. So it's good to go. It's safe. It's got an earth. It's got a ground. It's got the negative and the live, and and it's fine. You carry goods to carry on. So I'm very happy with that. So we've kept the original power supply to the workshop that was in the garage, really just for lighting and day-to-day stuff. We've then got now 4 16 amp single phase outlets that run all the air compressors and stuff when we're busy using those, plus other stuff. If we've got a high draw unit, tool on there. And now we've got a 40 amp supply for the high draw tools. Mig, Sheldon, and so on, and whatever else we get in the future as well. So the one thing is we can't get three-phase at this property. Well, it's not that you can't. It's just it's going to be tens and tens of thousands of dollars to get it here. The nearest transformer where we'd have to seek it from is about 150 meters away and 2 roads away. So the cost of digging up the roads and putting new cables in it, it's way beyond. Plus the council might go, you know what, you need a permit for that. And why do you want three-phase at your house? You know, and that could open a whole can of worms, couldn't it? We don't want that. Dave Can. Hey Andy, I'm thinking of coming to New Zealand to see my sister in Hamilton later this year. Could you suggest someone to hire a bike from for 2 weeks whilst I go on tour in the North and South Islands? Geez, motorcycle hire has dramatically dropped off. The number of customers, the number of companies that provide that service. And one of the biggest ones that was based, I went to go meet the guy actually, a guy called, I think it was called Kevin. He was based just north of Christchurch. And I went down to see him a few times actually. He had another remote satellite workshop up in Auckland, an ex-technician that I used to work with years ago called Robbie. He used to work for him, looking after the bikes, did a great job. That he decided to give up and sell the bikes. And that was because of COVID, basically, all the closing down. And, there was just no customers around, nothing going on. And the guy was ready for retirement anyway. So it lined up for him. It was very sad, but it lined up for him. He sold everything off. I know Cycle Treads used to do bike hire, or they used to at least manage some bike hire that maybe another company owned the bikes. I don't think they do that anymore. What you can do if you want, flick me an email and obviously I've got all your contact details, and I'll ask around some of the local bike shops and see if anything could be organised. We'll have to wait and see. And if you can give me an idea of the kind of distances or the style of bike that you're looking for, be it an adventure bike or a sports tourer or whatever, just let me know, and I'll put the feelers out. I can't guarantee anything, obviously, but I'll see what could be, what can be done, and if there's anyone out there that might be able to help. How's that for service? Very good, isn't it? Scrolling back. Oh my word. The Giant, that sausage roll looks mini. Well, actually, it's quite big compared to the English ones, to be fair. But it's actually called a beef and cheese roll. So it's not really even a sausage roll, but it's about as near as Mrs. Mechanic could find within about 3 seconds of looking. Now, Cody Hawkins, New Zealand style mukbang. What? Mukbang. I have no idea what you're on about, Cody. Try again. Simon, vegetables in a sausage roll, just so wrong. It is. It tasted. It put me off sausage rolls big time, to be honest. And it's only. Oh no! I've dropped my cigarette. Hang on. Bear with me. We can't be doing that. Right. It took me a while actually to get the confidence to buy a sausage roll again. But the ones at the Wild Bean Cafe, they're not too bad. And I have had the odd sausage roll when there's been no pies that I like. It's okay, It's not like a Thomas the Baker sausage roll. I mean, I could just sit and eat those for hours. They were just phenomenal. I used to love buying those for the staff because it gave me an excuse to have another one. And the kids were all brought up on them as well. They loved them. Thomas the Baker's sausage rolls. Nice. Simon, Alan should know that any bike in your workshop is going to be at least 3 years. I did warn him. I said, whatever you do, first thing, don't add to the list. Even regardless of what I find, somebody else can fix that. Although that rule tends to get bent on a regular basis. And secondly, say goodbye to your bike because you might not see it for a very long time. However, to be fair, initially at least, when it arrived, I sort of got on with it pretty quick. And I was really keen to keep pushing forward with it. And then we hit that special tools thing, that problem. and they took a very long time to be supplied. However, we now have them. We have what looks like a tool that fits inside the clutch to lock the clutch. Yes, so we can undo a bolt or a nut, should I say, probably. So we've got that. It's got two little holes, so I can put my other tool in there, the forky thing that, I forget what they're called, that will hold it in place. It gives me a lever to hold onto. And we got a little puller. Yes, little puller turned up as well. So I haven't even checked to see if these are the tools that I even asked for. But I am hoping that they are the ones that we need for the job. I have also spoken to Stu again in the South Island. When I was down, I was down at that dealership. And he is very, very happy to help with the rebuild of the gearbox. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. Do I take the whole bike down to Invercargill on the back of the ute? Or do I just take the engine out of this bike and take it down in the ute? Haven't decided yet. I might just take the engine out. It shouldn't be that hard. We've already got the chain off. Already drained all the oil. I mean, you know, it's not that hard, is it? So that might be the option. Plus, that way we can work on the engine on the bench and we can get better filming. Bingo. I think the engine's going to come out. God, more work. Now then, where do we get to? Yes, Simon, the lathe is clean. No, the lathe isn't clean. No, it's it has been used, but not much. I've not really made anything recently on it, but I will do. Time. Today's the first day that I haven't got an agenda other than the live stream, and that's why the Triumph's on the hoist. Got the tools. I only got the tools about 3 weeks ago, so now we can crack on and get episode 3 done and hopefully work out what gearbox parts we need. And I suspect that at least one of the gearbox shafts is going to be bent. It's going to have excessive run out and it's going to need replacing. That's my theory, and that's why I'm pushing so hard to get this right. You know, do it once, do it right. I don't want it coming back. No. I ain't got time for that. Jim Haynes, Miss June has some stains on her. I'm going to check. I'm going to check again. Yes, I was admiring the wood actually. You know, no, come on. I was admiring the wood. You know, on the actual staircase. It's very, very well photographed actually, isn't it? Larry Cox. Hello everyone. Hello Larry. Welcome to the workshop. Windsor, Ontario, Canada. In the house. Did I pronounce that right? House. Good man. Simon, 3-phase converter if you want 3-phase. I know. But surely for a 3-phase converter, you'd have to supply it with what, 2 single phases at least. I don't know. More money, and ultimately the current drawdown, the single phase supply is still going to be excessive. That's the problem. But hey, we've got 40 amps. We've got single phase 40 amp. We're all good. I don't think I need to go into the 3-phase world at the moment. I've managed to continuously dodge that. And, you know, yes, we could get one. We could do that, but I don't think we need to. But yes, thanks, Simon. Larry Cox. Hello, everyone. Hello, Larry. Daniel, you skipped my previous... Oh, no, really? I try not to skip things. Where are we? Let me scroll back. Daniel, always Andy. Hey, Andy, always Andy. That's all I've got. And then you skip my previous one. I know somebody sent me some more pictures. Hang on. Bear with me. Bear with me, people. There we are. Oh, my word. Holy shit. Many photos. Now, Daniel doesn't mind me showing them to the world, so here we go. We've got, it's only a small picture, isn't it? But what have we got? There we are. Oh my word, putting a floor in or a deck? A deck. Yes, a little mini porchy deck thing. Very good. And some steps. Nice. Many photos. Yes, bone of contention. I've still got my big deck to build at the back of the house. We've got most of the timber, just not had the time to do it. Benny's coming down in July, and I'm going to take a week off, so maybe we can make a start then. Oh, look at that. Little railings and everything. Very nice. Good job, mate. And a nice sort of footpath to it as well. Oh, you've done a great job with that. Looks very smart. And those steps are somewhere else. There must be another part of the house, maybe at the front. And that's it. Good job. Oh, yes. If I could make steps like that, I'd be very happy. I don't think my steps will look like that. Let's give me some ideas. I'll take a screenshot. There we are, look. I will try and replicate your steps when I come to do my steps. And then we've got something in common of making steps. Benjamin. Oh, Benjamin's asking, what tyres can you get through your work that will fit the stock TDR rims and have an off-road adventure tread pattern? He's supposed to be putting a bigger rim in the front, son. Okay. I think he's panicking a bit. He's planning a bike trip. And he's going to be taking his TDR with him. I'll have to think on that one, son. Okay, we've caught up. Right, back to the comments. Bum, bum, bum. So, sorry, Daniel. Hopefully that covered it. Larry Cox, Windsor in the house. Yeah, I know, in the house. But house, you know, it's almost, maybe you're from Scotland, I don't know. And they don't say house, they say a house. In the house. Larry Cox, M. Harris. 3-phase converters are expensive, but do work really well. Expensive. I spent a lot of money on this workshop over the last few years. Don't want to spend any more at the moment. Got to still pay for Trevor the tractor and Pooh Turtle the little Jimny Jeep. Little Suzuki Jimny. So, you know, things are sort of allocated. If any more big jobs come in, who knows? Maybe. Daniel Bedell, yes, I'm getting your messages. Machine NZ, morning Andy and crew. Well, I'm getting all the ones that I can see, but you said I missed one. I don't think I had. Machine NZ, morning Andy and crew. Good morning, Kevin. Hopefully you're all good. I've been watching you making your cylinders and honing them out in bits and pieces. Very, very technical. Excellent machining, by the way. Good job. Jim Haynes, I have all types of special tools for cars that are gone many years. But at least motorcycles don't rot away and get scrapped, so those tools are still okay. They are, and often special tools on motorcycles, you know, they can be used on more than one model. That's one of the good things about them. You know, it's not often model specific. There's a few out there that we have in our arsenal, but in the main, special tools that fits one model of ROV in the main will fit other models. So you do tend to use them a bit more than just once. So at the moment here in New Zealand, it just causes more of a headache, right? Because you haven't got them. So you've got to make, as in Sheldon's case, you just make your own. Don't you, Sheldon? Stuff it. I'll just make my own special tool to do that job. And with the kind of gear that he's got in his workshop, and of course Kevin's got the same stuff, you can do that. You can make your own. I've made plenty of special tools over the years for bits and pieces. Nowhere near as technical as the ones that Sheldon make, for sure. But whatever does the job is all that matters, really. Daniel, rear side of the house is where the deck was built. Okay, yes. And yes, the steps were in the front of the house. See? I'm a genius. Good job. Right, one more cigarette and hopefully I was going to say the pie, but the sausage rolly beef and cheese roll, true name, should be ready. Hang on a minute. We've got more. There's more stuff coming in, not Benjamin. Yeah. Okay. I think this is spam. Hi, I'm Lisa, working from California, USA, working for in a Samsung company. Are you there with me? Question mark, and then more question marks. No, don't need to reply to that one, do we? Okay, job done. Emails, nothing important. Cool. Okay. So, plan of attack today is to attack the Trump. I want to get the primary stripped down. I want to get the rest of the gearbox components out. I'm going to find all the other gearbox components and start to take a closer look at what could be reused and what definitely needs to be replaced. And then the stuff, there's always a few bits and pieces where you go, do we replace that or not? And I'm going to err on the side of caution. And if I think it might need it, it's going to get it if it's still available. It should be. It might take a while to get the bits though. So there might be quite a delay between the next episode after we've filmed this one being episode 3. Because realistically, episode 4 and probably 5 will be down in Invercargill, reassembling the gearbox. They'll be the critical episodes, because that's the reassembly is the most important part. And then episode 6 will no doubt end up back here in the workshop, where we refit the engine to the frame and bolt it all up, chuck some oil in it, and well, hopefully go for a test ride without too many problems. And then go back to Alan. That's the plan. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. For the rest of this week, Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday, I've got to go into Taupo. I've got to go and do a dealer visit in Taupo and collect some stuff while I'm there that we need for packing. Wednesday, Mrs. Mechanic is going to pack all the 700 footwell kits that we can. I think we can do about 21 kits. We needed 25 to satisfy the order, so we're only 4 short, so that's not the end of the world. I can get those sprayed up and she can get those packed in the next few weeks. Not all those kits need to go straight out to dealers, so that's good. So the pressure's not on there. And then Thursday morning, up to Auckland with the ROV that I've got. Thursday night, I've got to go and take that to Piha and do a swap and get another one, because there's still 2 more to service. Friday morning, I'll be at head office, and then Friday afternoon, I'll be coming home. And then it starts all over again, another weekend. Cody Hawkins, sounds legit, hopefully. The Giant, how often do you work on cars? Very, very rarely. Good segue though. The little Jimny Poo Turtle has a problem. It's developed an issue. And I'm hoping it's probably related to fitting the lift kit. Now, you might remember that when we were doing the actual monkey bike ride, top to the bottom of New Zealand, by the way, if you haven't seen it, in the South Island, I'm sure it was in the South Island at first. Oh, there goes the sausage roll thing. I was going downhill, had the trailer on, fully loaded, going downhill, and there was a very slight, at the bottom of the hill was a very slight left-hand bend. And as I went through the left-hand bend, it felt initially like one of the front tires was hitting some bodywork, and it was hitting it pretty hard, because it jerked the vehicle to the right, and I heard what I thought was the tire against a wheel arch. I didn't notice at the time any lights on the dash. It only happened for a split second, and then it went away. Since then, Mrs. Mechanic has experienced a very similar occurrence 3 or 4 times, just driving the vehicle around unladen without the trailer on, just normal driving. And I've inspected under the wheel arches at the front, and there is no telltale rub signs whatsoever. Yes, the tire can get pretty close to the arch when the vehicle's loaded and you are almost in full lock, but this is not full lock. This is very slight turn. And she's noticed lights on the dash come on. She's not identified which lights they are yet. I think one of them is like a traction control or a stability control thing that's cutting in. So whether we've damaged a wheel speed sensor wire or something, I don't know. So I've got to get the little Jimny in the workshop. That will be another video. But yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious. We did some pretty aggressive off-roading that little Jeep in the South Island. Prior to the first incident, the first occurrence, and maybe a rock's got in there and damaged something or what, I don't know, but there was some nasty bangs from underneath when we were going through the rivers. So yeah, hopefully it's easily fixed. It's not that detrimental to driving, but it does seem now, from what Mrs. Mechanic was saying, that the ABS system is applying the brake on one of the front wheels, and we think it's the front driver's side wheel. Even though she, on one of the occasions, she swears blind, she wasn't even pressing the brake pedal. Now, That's weird because ABS wouldn't cut in unless you're actually pressing the brake pedal. So maybe it's a stability control thing. I don't know. I need to investigate further. And there's no fault codes. The engine management light isn't on. So as far as the ECU is concerned, it's just doing its job in reaction to an input. So maybe the input is the problem. So we'll wait and see. Right, we're just going to finish the cigarette, then we'll go and get the sausage roll. Now, Mike Mazansky, have you got any real-world feedback on the kit performance? We're talking about the lift kit on the little chimney. Well, until I go underneath, don't really know. Although what I will point out is I did have a quick look underneath the rear the other day. It was last weekend. And during the trip, the plastic shroud of the left rear shock had dropped down. It had come unseated at the top and dropped down, and that sat at the bottom of the shock, exposing the piston rod, the chrome bit. And on the driver's side rear, if you remember, we had to fit some little spacers that came with the kit to move the shock further back on the lower bolt for clearance. And me and Ben, we decided to put two washers in there to give it clearance. I think we overcooked it because the back of the shock is now rubbing on the control rod that goes across the side of the vehicle to give the axle, side-to-side support. So I'm going to have to whiz that off, take a washer out, put it back on. It hasn't damaged the shock. It's just scuffed a bit of the paint. There is bare metal, so it'll get... I think I might have some yellow paint somewhere. I'll take the shock off. Well, no, I won't take the shock off because they're a shit to get off. I'll just spray it in situ and bolt it back on. But I want to have a real good look around underneath the vehicle for impact damage, because we were going through some pretty big boulders and a reasonable lick of speed as well, because I didn't want to get stuck in the river. And when you're going across rivers with a trailer that weighs a ton, that's obviously not driven, it's a bit like an anchor. You've really got one chance. If you get stuck in the river, you're not getting out with the trailer on. I'd have had to unhitch the trailer in the river, get the Jeep out, and then go back into the river and hitch a strap onto the trailer and drag it out. Something I really didn't want to do. Oh my word, is what's going on here. Daniel Bedell. Andy, I'm wondering how come you didn't take 2 bolts and a couple of pieces of a flat bar to make the tools you need for the bike. The reason for this, I could have probably made up something that would have done the trick, right? But oh god, the Samson woman's back on again. Honestly, she just doesn't leave me alone. I haven't even responded to any of her messages, so I don't know what on earth's going on there. I like to have the right tools for the job. I didn't really... The drawings in the manual are pretty basic. I didn't really know what was needed. I didn't want to pull the primary sheet of the primary drive apart and then have it in bits for a long period of time with the bike going in and out of the workshop and being in the garden and stuff. So I said to Alan, we've come to a dead stop. You source the special tools that we need, and then I'll proceed. And that was the way it was going to be. I've had lots of other work to do anyway, so it wasn't really a problem for me to have the bike just packed up for a while, other than the fact the videos stalled out. So my apologies to those that were interested. Yes, I could have made something up. The puller, I needed the puller anyway. I wasn't going to make one of those up. I have no idea what weird thread that's got on it, although it is a right-hand thread. Yes. But yeah, could I have made one of those? I could have made one, but it would be quite labour intensive, and I wanted the right part, and then that way the viewers get to see what part it is and the part number, which is 61-3766 by the looks of it, or 60. I would say that's an O. Anyway, there you go, look. See, we get the numbers, and that's helpful. And the puller is 617014, extractor for clutch hub. There you go, you see? So we've got what we need now. Do it properly. Cody Hawkins, intermittent electrical faults, the dream job. Yeah, had plenty of those. Purple Monkey, 1974. Did you need to extend the extender hitch in the trip? I didn't. I actually didn't bother to do it. There was no point on any of the trails where we had the monkey bike on the trailer, because Mrs. Mechanic pretty much rode everything. There was no point where we had to have the monkey bike on the trailer and crossing deep V-shaped gullies, basically. And that's why we put it on, or built it as a feature to the trailer. So no, I was able to leave it as it was, which means all the paint's still there, which is nice. But it's there for future. You know, we may decide when we come to do the Postman Pat van, what's it called? Paxter. The Paxter vehicle. We've got a generator fit on the trailer as well, so we may have to extend the length of the trailer to get everything on, and then of course we can use the extender hitch to do that. It's already made. It's integral to the design, right? So it wasn't a waste of time. I think it was a really good idea to put it to incorporate it into the design, and it may well get used in the future. It may. Now, where do we get to? Trademark. I like that. Daniel Bedell. I sometimes find myself in similar situations like that, where I have to make things work. When I do renovating projects, yeah, I'm sure you do. You just got to think on your feet and get the job done. With the Triumph, I don't have to do that. I'd rather do it like we did with the CB750, step by step, do it by the book, and then that way it helps. I think it helps people that maybe can't make their own special tools. They know what they need to go and get, you know. And we're doing it properly. I don't want to break anything as well. You know, that would be a problem, because I'm not getting paid for the work. It's a freebie for Alan, as it always is. And you know, I don't want to damage his bike. His bike's here to be fixed, not to be more broken. Jim, Mr. Haynes, did you reset the steering wheel sensor after all the work? I didn't, but it did go in for a wheel alignment at the Suzuki dealership in Taupo. Now, they contracted it out to a local wheel alignment specialist. So that's a very good point, and that's something I need to query with them, because the steering wheel was well out of kilter once we fitted the kit, obviously because of the additional lift. So I'm going to query that with them. The vehicle itself tends to wander quite a bit on the road, so I'm also going to be looking at getting a drop arm for the steering box. That helps to eliminate a lot of that wander. Plus the wheel alignment may not be correct. So there's a few variables to work at, but we'll get to the bottom of it. And at the moment it's not priority, but it's something which I need to get sorted out, because Mrs. Mechanic, she's like, it's not the same Jeep it used to be. You've wrecked it. Fitting that lift kit has wrecked the vehicle as regards its road handling abilities. She just doesn't like driving it. I mean, it's the only car she's got, so she has to, but she doesn't like driving it, which is not the idea. I bought it, you know, for her to drive her new car. So I've got to fix it. Now then, John Dwyer. Good day, Sir Andy. Lady Mechanic. That's a good one. And crew. From me in hot United Kingdom, 31 centigrade. What's the temperature there? It's probably about maybe 13, 14. It's warming up at the moment. Maybe it started off about 10 this morning. But it's not too bad. It's not over cold. Things are definitely starting to warm up. It's not as cold as it was a couple of weeks ago, that's for sure. Connor K, click the like. Thank you, Connor. One more. The Jane Governor. What is the price of the special tools? I don't know. I didn't pay for them. Being Triumph stuff, probably not that expensive. These definitely came all the way from the UK. Whether Alan got them from a supplier in New Zealand that imports from the UK, I don't know. Where they came from, he just got them eventually, and now they've turned up. He was very happy when he handed them over to me. And I said to him, I said, well, I'm really busy in the workshop fabricating at the moment. I'll thank you very much for the special tools. I'll put your bike back on the list. Yeah. Last one. Cody Hawkins, free, the best price. Yes, I didn't pay for them. Alan paid for them. His bike. Right. Let's go and get this sausage rolly thing. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay. Dum, 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 dum. Have we burnt it to a crisp? I don't know. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. I don't see any black yet. No. I reckon that'll do, Gromit. Bit of a... Should we score it? Is it really worth scoring? I don't know. Maybe we'll get into it and decide halfway through if we're going to score it or not. Right, then he fell over. Jeez. Turn you around. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Okay, we're back. There we go. Just bring you around a bit more. Nom, 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 nom. Perfect. Okay, so the sausage roll. It's a beef and cheese roll, but it's sort of sausage rolly thing, isn't it, really? Beef, sausage, meat. There we go. On the top. Now, underneath, we have got a pretty big crack developed along here, look, obviously where the pastry joins together, started to... So we'll start here, that's the plan. But it doesn't look too bad. I think the pie one was done as a treat for this one. It looks quite hot, so we've got a bit of steam coming off. Is it going to give some steam for you? Don't know. It did. There we go. I can see it. You got to believe me on it. Okay. I'm tentatively going to go in. It could be as hot as the sun, but I don't know. You can see the steam now. It's not bad. Oh, Mrs. Mechanic, if you're watching, I could do with another coffee, if you don't mind. Has it got onions in it? There might be an onion there. Ingredients. Cooking. Ingredients. Beef mince, wheat flour, water, sausage meat, beef, seasoning. And then it goes, vegetable gum. What the hell? Colour. Margarine. Vegetable fat, water, salt, emulsifier. And then lots of weird stuff. Soy sauce powder. What the hell? Milk solids, food acid, some colour, some salt, some pepper. Wheat gluten. Cheese, 2%. I don't know. Maybe it hasn't got any onions in it. Maybe it's just a bit of pastry. There you go. That's what it looks like on the inside. These tend to be quite stodgy, quite heavy to eat, to be fair. Do we score it? Do we score it? Tell me if you want me to score it. Is it worth scoring? Come on. You tell me. I'm ready with my pen. We can score it if need be. It's not bad. If you were broken down at the side of the road or run out of fuel, whatever it is, you'd be quite happy to eat this. You know, whilst the truck turns up to take you away, basically. It's not that bad. It's just not a pie. It isn't a pie. You can't. If you tried to think it was a pie, you'd be disappointed straight away. Jim, make sure it's reset. As I had a tour to do the same thing, just a little off straight, it would try to correct itself. And one set it fixed it. That's a good point. I'll give him a call tomorrow when they're open, see if the guy can remember what he did. I'm hoping we haven't damaged anything underneath, but the poor little did take some pretty big hits, unfortunately. And we didn't have the problem at all driving all the way up north and all the way to Wellington. So that's a considerable amount of driving. Then the ferry. And then we did rainbows, did a few tracks, did rainbows, and it was, I think it was after Lees Valley or somewhere around sort of mid-South Island where it started to do it. So I'm thinking if it was steering sensor, you'd maybe expect it to have done it straight away, you know. I don't know. Well, I'll ask the question, but it's a very good point to raise. I would have expected they would have done that, but who knows until you ask, right? Okay, I'm not sure if we're marking this or not. Where we get to? Daniel, how about using a collapsible stroke telescopic steering linkage for the Jeep issue to help out with that issue? Don't quite follow you on that one. to be fair. I don't. Cody Hawkins, 0 out of 10, not a pie. I know, Cody, my apologies. It's a sausage roll. Right, Daniel Bedell, always score anything that goes into the toaster oven. There we go. Daniel has spoken. So we've got some direction. We're going to score it. We'll see how we go. I won't, you know, take a long time to do this. So taste, stroke, flavour. And I've got to score it as a sausage roll, basically. It does taste, as expected, very sausage rolly. In actual fact, a lot better than a lot of the sausage rolls that I've had here in New Zealand. There is absolutely no vegetables evident. I certainly can't taste any. It is just beef, sausage meat, sausage mince. It's all right for a sausage roll. It's actually not bad. So I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. And I'm going to give it such a high score because it doesn't have any vegetables in it, unlike the majority of sausage rolls here in New Zealand. Runnability, well, you know, you can turn this damn thing upside down. It's like a brick, okay? So it doesn't run. There's nothing in there that's gonna fall out, and you wouldn't really expect that to be the case on a sausage roll. So it's going to get a full 10. You know, the only time I suppose it might lose a bit of points on that is if you know, a lot of the pastry keeps falling off, real flaky pastry, but it's not too bad. Meat quality, well, we're sort of looking for gristle and bits of fat and stuff, and it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty beefy. It's okay. It is. Meat quality, I'm going to give it an 8. Now, we can still use the contents to pastry ratio. There's a lot of contents and not a lot of pastry. Most of the volume, the cross-sectional volume, is meat. And the pastry all the way around is pretty consistent at about 4 millimeters thick. Obviously with this, you don't get the big parts of pastry where the lid meets the base on a pie, which can be pretty dry sometimes if it's a bad pastry. So it's going to score pretty high. You get a lot of contents based on the size of the actual foodstuffs. So I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 for that. It's pretty good. Availability of logistics. Well, Oxford pies and their sausage roll. Their pies are readily available. Are these beef and cheese rolls readily available? I don't see them for sale that often, to be honest. You get them from supermarkets, therefore you can buy them online, but they wouldn't be readily available. Some dairies have them in the pie warmers, but not all dairies, not all of them at all. I'm going to give them a 6. I think 6 is more than fair, actually, on that. Now, pastry taste rating. This is where we get to compromise the whole structure. So we've got a little bit of pastry just here. It's quite moist. It's not dry. It tastes just like pastry. There is no seasoning whatsoever in the pastry. It's okay. It's just pastry. It's doing its pastry job. I'm going to give it... They could have livened it up. A little bit of seasoning would have been nice. I'm going to give them a 7. Because it's not dry and crumbly, you know. It's not too bad, really. I mean, and it stays together really well. Even some sausage rolls here in New Zealand, when they've got all the vegetables and stuff in them, man, you're better off with a plate and a fork to eat it. They just collapse, you know. This one would have been better with a bit of HP sauce. A traditional thing for me with sausage rolls. Still tasty when cold. I really do not like sausage rolls that are cold. I think they taste absolutely disgusting. They have to have some heat to them. I think this will be very much the same. Almost where the texture of the meat almost makes you want to gip, basically, and throw up, because just tastes so weird. So I'm gonna give it a 1 for that. It's gonna get a very low score for that. Packaging design, well, Oxford haven't done too bad. They sort of copied the same style as they do with their pies. This is the steak, bacon, and cheese pie where you've got a little window, you can see what you're buying. Exactly the same on this sausagey, beefy cheese roll thing. Not that I can really taste the cheese, to be honest. Oh, first burp. That's burp counter. Okay. The packaging has got little aerated holes in it for warming, for keeping it not from sweating too much in the pie warmer when it's in a dairy or something. There's a lot of information on the back. It's very useful. Tells you all about the history of where they've come from and the full ingredients. Beef and cheese roll. Num num num. They've even got all their social media linky stuff on there as well, which is nice. They sort of planned their attack with the packaging. They spent a bit of time developing that and signing it off. It looks quite smart. It's not glary, you know. It's all right. Again, like the sausage roll, it's all right. I'll give them an 8 for that. I think the packaging design is pretty good, actually. A lot of thoughts gone into it. Recyclable score. It is plastic. Does it say it's recyclable? No. Keep New Zealand clean. Dispose of the waste thoughtfully. That's right down here in the bottom corner here, look. So it's not recyclable. They don't tell us if it's recyclable or not. So they just say put it in the bin. So I'll give them a 1. I'll give them a 1 for that. It's probably recyclable somewhere, but they don't give us any information on that. Post heartburn. Already 1 burp so far, so we're down to 9. But I'll leave that open for now. Pie server attractiveness came from the local store just down the road. I think we give the girl there about a 6 from memory. She gets a 6. Now, structure fully partners. Other than that initial crack, it coped very, very well. We've still got a fair way to go, but it's staying together. Oh, hang on. We've got more comments. JJ, could just be dirt or mud under the Jeep sensors. They don't like contamination. It could well be. I think it's wheel speed sensor related, which is affecting an input. But it could also be that steering angle sensor as well. The Jeep's pretty keen. It's always watching out for the white lines, and it's pretty keen to intervene if you start to deviate from your bit of the road, you know. So we've got a few things to check out. I don't know if we can check the steering sensor with the scope. We may be able to. I mean, is the voltage or the signal 0 when it's directly ahead? Ivan did a bit of work on steering sensors recently, so I'll rewatch his video and get some ideas of what kind, because he was saying on the video, the change in voltage, there's 2 channels for the signal. The ECU looks at both and compares the difference in voltage between the 2. And he was saying that the difference in voltage is absolutely minuscule, even when the steering's under, you know, quite a long way off center. So it's very, very sensitive is the word on the signal. So you need to know what you're looking for. But so there's no reason why we couldn't back probe in and see what's going on. Now then, where do we get to? So structure fully partners, very, very good. Very happy with that. It did have a crack in it. I'm going to knock off a mark for that. I'm going to give it 9. So very, very stable piece of foodstuffs. You could be on a mountain eating this, and a really windy day, and it'll be all right. Can't let it escape. Okay. Heartburn factor. We're down to 9. Okay, we lost a mark. We'll stick 9 in there. And I'm going to go in for the finish. Are you ready? One thing I noticed when I'm eating it is, in order to, when you get near the end, in order to prevent the last bit of meat falling out the bottom, I find myself just squashing it a little bit. I think that's a natural reaction just to make sure it all stays together. Okay. This is the last bit. Still pretty warm, actually. Oh, my word. We nearly lost a bit. This bit here. Okay. There's another mark off. That's down to 8. Okay, we're going in. Right, said Fred. Do I feel stuffed? Well, actually, what's the weight? I thought so. 250 grams. That's quite big. That's a lot bigger than your average pie. I mean, to have a look at this one there, the steak, bacon and cheese is only 220 grams. So considerably larger and heavier. I do feel pretty stuffed, to be honest. Probably it's not going to affect the filming shortly when I come to work on the Triumph. I would say, actually, I do feel a little bit over full. So the way that we score this is, if I'm still hungry after I've eaten the product, then the score is below 10. If I feel perfect, it's filled a gap, but I feel that's just done exactly what I want, it gets the full 10. But if I also feel over full, and I've not eaten anything else this morning, if I feel over full, then we start to bring the marks back down. And for that, for me, probably the last sort of 3 bites I could have done without. So I'm going to give it an 8. It's not too bad, but I am going to give it an 8. It's not going to get a 10 because it was a little bit too big for a morning sort of snack or in this case, my breakfast. Okay, we have some scores on the board. Let's get them tallied up. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom. Okay, just drop that. Oh my word, I keep burping. So, heartburn is now going to be an 8. It's losing marks left, right and centre, isn't it? Okay, so, and bearing in mind, we're not comparing this to a pie, we're comparing it to what I would expect from a sausage roll. And I've eaten a few over the years, especially in the UK. I've let you in lots in the UK. So we've got 17, 27, 35, 43, 49, 56, 57, 65, 66, 74, 82, 88. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's 88 is the score. Got a little magnetic strip, and it was an Oxford Pies and it was a beef and cheese roll. And I'm going to put on there 250 grams. That's sort of the main. And what else? Not a pie. Okay, 88 is the score. Right, let's put the lid back on the pen and we'll go for a wander and see where it ends up. It's pretty average score, really, and I wouldn't have expected it to score too high. So the question is, do we amalgamate this with the rest of the pie scores, or do we put it somewhere separate? Now you see, pork pies, I had one of those yesterday. Pork pies have their own scoreboard. So, realistically, so should sausage rolls. We shouldn't really compare it to a pie because it wasn't a pie. So, we will, where should we stick that? Let's just stick it over there, look, for now. In fact, we'll stick it up there under the bike. That works. We'll stick it there. And then if we do any more, sausage rolls, then we can start a little mini leaderboard for those. But I don't really want to put it in with the pies because it's not a pie. It's not right, is it? A bit unfair, really. Morning, Lily. But yeah, there'll be more pies to come as we find them around New Zealand. I did call in at Fat Bastard Pies in Invercargill the other week. Yes, on Friday morning, in fact. I had a Fat Bastard pie, which was okay. I had a steak and cheese, which was very, very tasty. Had it in the car park of Countdown with my coffee, and I was making phone calls. And unfortunately, I very nearly missed my flight. Got talking to one of my work colleagues, and the conversation got quite detailed on some technical aspects. Hang on. Nice. Bit of sausage roll on my tooth. Lovely. And before I knew it, 45-minute long call, I looked at my watch and went, I actually need to be at the airport now. And I still had the hire car to fuel up before I returned that. Luckily, you return it at the airport, so that was a bonus. And of course, I had to get to the airport after I fueled it up, and then I had to check in. And I got checked in only 3 minutes before the deadline for check-in. I hadn't checked in time. They'd given my seat to somebody else, and I'd have had to wait for another flight. And that was the only direct flight back to Auckland that day. If I'd missed that one, I'd have had to fly to Christchurch, probably pay for another ticket, fly to Christchurch, wait for at least an hour, up to 3 hours sometimes on the joining flights, and then fly up to Auckland. And I wouldn't go home till probably early hours of the morning. 3 minutes. But it was a bit of a rally stage, the last bit. We weren't going slow. Little puddle hopper, didn't know what was coming. Foot down. Luckily, the police were in that area. I spotted he'd already pulled somebody up. He was busy issuing some tickets and gave me some Tim Tams and probably some other stuff while he was there. And so I decided that it was probably fair game. And it was more important I go on the flight. Yes. And I just got to the car park and just dumped the car. Found a hire car parking space, not necessarily Avis, and just dumped the vehicle, grabbed my gear, locked the car, and ran as fast as I could into the airport and got checked in immediately. And then sat around for an hour before I got on the flight. Crazy. Now then, where do we get to? Let me scroll back. You guys have been busy as always. Cody Hawkins, check for stuff blocking the Hall effect sensor and the wheel, but probably crushed cable or broken wheel speed sensor would be my guess for the Jimny. Yeah, it's very intermittent. It doesn't happen very often, and it only happens under a very particular steering angle, under very particular conditions. You can replicate it, but you've got to drive the same section of road again. You could drive, Mrs. Mechanic can drive to Taupo and back, and she's probably covering 80, 90 kilometers, maybe 80 kilometers. No, it could be 90, all up there and back. And it might only happen once. It's not a regular thing. There's no current fault displayed on the dash. The engine management light is off. The ABS light is off. So for the vast majority of the time, everything's happy. It's a bit odd, actually. It's a little bit odd, but we'll dig into it. But I appreciate your suggestions. I do. John Nuttall, is the Trump battery on trickle charge, and have you run some fuel through those carbs? No. He's probably going to get a new battery when he goes back. A Yuasa, good quality battery. I like good quality batteries. And well, the carbs probably need a clean anyway, but you're quite right. At the start, I didn't really plan it taking this long, and I was hoping that I wouldn't have to do stuff like that. Yeah. I just make more work for myself, don't I? But no, John, you're quite right. I should have done that, and I didn't. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when we fire it up. It might be fine. It's British. Of course it'd be fine. Mike Adams, howdy all. I'm late, but I made it. Thank you, Mike. Welcome back to the workshop, matey. And yes, you're a bit late, but don't worry. We're still here for a while. I've still got my last cigarette to smoke and the final chat. Daniel Bennell, but it's recyclable, meaning the packaging is recycling. It isn't. It isn't recyclable. It just says... It's got a picture of a dustbin on there, look. A little picture of a dustbin. It says, keep New Zealand clean, dispose of your, hang on, it's a bit, dispose of your waste? Wrapper. Dispose of your wrapper thoughtfully, is what it says on there. There's no mention anywhere that it's recyclable, and it is plastic, you know. It's a lot of the plastic wrappers here in New Zealand are not recyclable. You can't put this in your recycle bin with plastic bottles and stuff. It's a different kind of plastic, and they won't accept it. Mrs. Mechanic's tried, and they just take it out and put it in with the rubbish, which is not ideal. Daniel, you're being too generous. If it's not recyclable, you should give him a 0. Well, maybe, but I need to be consistent, and I just give them a 1. If they mention on there to put it in the bin, I think that's maybe just me being generous. Oh, Daniel sent a photo. Right, hang on, Daniel, we'll have a look. Mike Adams. Hang on, scroll down. There he is. It's a little ironic that I just took the ECM off the engine of my Dodge to be rebuilt. And as soon as I click in here, you're talking about ECM, ECU issues. Yeah, but probably something that I've caused, to be fair, or it hasn't had the wheel alignment done properly. We need to solve the problem because she's a little bit bouncy. Well, a little bit, it's constantly trying to hunt across the road. You know, now we used to get that with the bigger tyres and stuff on the Jeeps in the UK, but we were able to set them up so it didn't do that. So I think a few final tweaks on the wheel alignment. There is the place that we got the lift kit from is in Cambridge, not too far from here. So it may be that I book it in there. Those lads have fitted plenty of those kits before. They'll know exactly what needs to be done. I'll give them a call in advance anyway and have a chat. They can double check we fitted the kit properly, first of all, which I'm sure we have. I can then air my views on the rear bump stop extenders, which are horrifically bad, which may not even be there anymore. And then we can sort out the alignment issue with them. They said they would do it for free when we were doing the original build, but we didn't have the time to get to Cambridge with the vehicle. So we didn't take them up on the offer, but maybe now they could do it for us for free, so there'll be no charge. Oh, a little hiccup. Not good. Mike Adams. Mine wasn't allowing power to be sent to the lift pump. I can pretty much figure out and repair mechanical issues, but the computers are my Achilles tendon. Yes, without all the necessary gear. I mean, Ivan's got everything you need under the sun for doing that kind of thing. If it's not providing power to the pump, it's either an input, which is the ECU is deciding, hey, you know, the car's upside down, I don't want the fuel pump to run, or other inputs. Whether those inputs are correct or incorrect is you can determine as a tech. And if all the inputs look good and the fuel pump isn't being given a ground to energize the pump, then you pretty much go after the ECU. You know, you obviously test the pump and so on to test the wiring, but if you're not getting that switch, then you know, it's an ECM problem. But you know, you can even provide the pump a ground to run it up, and if the vehicle runs as a result, then you know that the wiring is integral and the pump's working fine. You know, it's a control issue, so you know, you just try and work your way through it best you can logically, really. Mike Adams again, $1,300 for a replacement if you can find one, but $300 to have it rebuilt. Bet you'll never guess which option I chose. I would hope you had it rebuilt. I would hope so. $1,000 difference. Yeah. $1,300 is quite a lot of money. US. Really is. But go on, tell us, Mike, which one did you do? Did you buy another one or did you get yours fixed? I think you'll have got yours fixed. Because you know it, right? You know the history of it. You know that it's not had any other faults other than that. I think maybe you'd have got yours. I'd have certainly sent it off to get it fixed. I wouldn't have wanted to spend an extra $1,000, that's for sure. Right. Whilst we're waiting for Mike's response, and the cigarette's all gone, we'll get rid of that. we are now coming up to exactly 1.5 hours, which is the ideal time for the length of a live stream in my book. Today, if you've just joined us, I'm going to be working back on the Triumph, wherever it is down there, look, on the Trump. And we have the special tools, as you saw from the thumbnail, the special tools which will allow me to get the primary drive stripped and extract the last shaft of the gearbox, and then I can start to get all the bits laid out, work out what's what again, refresh myself and work with how it all works, because it's been a while, and do an inspection and work out what parts we're going to need to replace. Those parts, that parts list will then be handed to Alan. Alan will then source all the parts, and once all the parts have turned up, then I will be hopefully taking the engine down to Invercargill, where Stu, a very well, highly experienced motorcycle engineer, I'd call him, who has worked on these Triumphs many times over the years, specifically the gearboxes, and is well aware of problems that occur in these gearboxes, and he is going to assist me and teach me the correct way of reassembly. That's the plan. And then over that weekend, once it's all finished, we'll be filming all of that because he wants to be in the videos, obviously. I'll be bringing the engine back to the workshop, getting it fitted back in the frame, getting the bike put back together, and going for a test ride. Hopefully everything will go to plan. Mike Adams, definitely rebuilt. He claims it'll be ready by next weekend. Excellent, good man. $300, it's not a bad deal, ready to get it fixed. Cody Hawkins, I gotta go, but good to catch up and see you're doing well. Has been far too long. It has, Cody. Probably my fault. Let me know when you are around Auckland sometime and we can catch up for a beer. My shout. That's the kind of viewer I like. No problem, Cody. We will do that for sure. I've still got your number in my phone and looking forward to it. Okay, crew, thank you all for joining. I'm sorry we didn't have a pie this morning. We had a sausage rolly thing. But hey, it needs must sometimes. At least I had something for breakfast. I will see you next time. It'll be 2 weeks, don't forget, from now. So not next Sunday, the Sunday after, 8:30 a.m. New Zealand time. I'll see you back here in the workshop. And watch out for the next video on the Triumph. It won't be long. Here we go. Okay, crew, take care. Over and out.